Right, here we are driving in Birmingham city centre. An awful lot of redevelopment going on. Water sprays over on the left hand side, out of shot on the camera, keeping the dust down for demolition. I've parked temporarily in the 1 hour limited parking bays just to take some pictures of the redevelopments happening in the old medieval heart of the city. A lot of bus routes being diverted this way, hence the quantity of public transport coming past. I'm just taking it really slowly here while I watch the electric cars predominantly coming through on the left hand side, not make any sound to give me a clue about their approach. An old internal combustion engine car coming past now. Nothing else in lane number 2, so coming out slowly, looking at the parked car in front to make sure it's not about to pull off, watching out for pedestrians and scooters, and heading towards Harborne. So I'm going to go to lane 1 when I get a chance, keeping my eyes on the pedestrians both sides at the moment. Too late to be able to stop for the amber there. No right turn any longer at the moment up Edgbaston Street, so we'll stay in this lane. Going to go towards the centre, so I want to come across to lane number 1, watching out for pedestrians coming in from the left, gently slowing, putting on my signal because it's safe, looking at the Vauxhall on my left and the Peugeot behind, seeing if they're going to give me way, and they don't seem to be, so keeping my speed static, now building up speed because of the truck behind. No pedestrians stepping out, on we go. 20-mile-an-hour zone, truck behind turning off. Don't know why it's going to the car parks, but there is a lot of development going on here on the left as well. Can only see buses in front, so I'm hoping I've not missed a buses only temporary sign. Taxis would be allowed up here, I'm almost certain, as well. Last time I came to the city centre, certainly private cars were allowed. We're in the clean air zone, but this car is compliant. Can't see any repeater signs. No sign there saying bus lane starting on the left, which makes me a little bit worried, as if there may not be permission for private vehicles. There's one commercial one parked, 2 commercial ones parked on the right. We will see. Too late for me to do anything about it at this stage. Watching out once again for pedestrians. One of them stepped out on the left, 2 have stepped out on the left, but were looking at me. Keep clear on the road surface, so making sure the double decker in front of me is moved ahead so that I'm not going to block the keep clear. I could double round here. I think I'm going to do that because it says only buses and taxis can go ahead. All other traffic has to do a U-turn, so we will do that. Looking well ahead and to where traffic could be coming from, including taxis parked in the taxi rank. I've got space to get alongside the bus, so I'll go up alongside, checking over to my left that I'm not going to clip the corner of the bus, waiting till the bus moves off, otherwise I don't have a clear view that no pedestrian is stepping out. Eyes all around, taking it nice and slow and gentle with the controls, and back down alongside Moore Street, slowing down because the bus has put brake signals on. 4 buses here on the left, watching out for pedestrians coming out in between the buses. Bus with its hazard lights on, the next one's still got a left signal on, checking centre mirror before slowing for the red traffic signals, and coming down into gear 1 before I come to a stop, keeping my car in motion so that I don't have to bother with the kerfuffle of the old-fashioned handbrake, and coming up to bite, still in motion, but the lights haven't changed, so come to a stop, easing off the brake. Bus on my left is signalling to the right, so I've got to hug the inside because they're along the vehicle and their rear end is going to get close to me. Still in a 20 zone, lots of temporary signs for pedestrians, checking if the bus is pulling in for the temporary bus stop. It isn't, so I've got to stay in this lane. It's in my blind spot at the moment. Automated traffic signals saying I have to go left, so I don't need a signal. Watching out for the young pedestrian males on the right and the guys on the wrong side of the railings on the left. Bus coming up behind me because of the cable lorry. 2 lanes closing ahead. Pedestrians blocking my view of some of the traffic, some of the roadworks signs. Don't want to go to the right, that just loops around where I've come from, so we'll go ahead. Traffic signals on green, watching out for pedestrians. Still at 19 miles an hour, still in a 20s, sorry, no, we're in a 30 zone now. Saw a pair of 30 mile an hour signs. No right turn coming up ahead. Now we've got a 20 zone around the bus stop and coach station. Cones helping me identify which way the road is going. Silver Vauxhall coming up behind relatively slowly. No right turn at these next signals. Pedestrian crossing with a location identified for where we need to wait. The word here is in larger letters, so we'll pause here. The yellow box junction markings not applicable now that you cannot turn right here. Checking the recording is still on. Looking for pedestrians on bicycles coming through on the right hand side. It isn't a toucan crossing, so she should be off her bike wheeling it across. Haven't got a clear view to the left, so I'm watching out for more bicycles and wheelchair users who sit lower, and my view of them might be obstructed by some of these temporary road signs. Nice strong warnings to pedestrians not to proceed beyond this point because the lanes are pretty narrow. Kept my car into gear 1. Large digger, can see the arm of it above this temporary roadworks sign on the left, but I think it's digging something up rather than moving towards my lane. Checking all around, including alongside both sides of the car for bicycles and e-scooters. Nothing happening at the crossing. On we go into gear 2. Yep, they're certainly digging up that road. No activity on the other side of this fairly flimsy barrier. No right turn sign coming up. Pedestrians are well away on the right hand side. Road blocked off on the left. Another pedestrian crossing. Covering brake until I get a good view through the blue gauze railings. Red traffic signal ahead, showing a brake signal to the guys behind. Still the same Corsa. No activity from the car park on the right. Slowing down in the hope that the lights will change. Coming into gear 1, still got 4 miles an hour, still creeping ahead, easing off the foot brake and going back on foot brake. I can see through the 3 cars in front. The lights are changing. Handbrake on because we've got a slide uphill. Gas on, up to bite, checking the door mirrors, checking out the pedestrians to make sure everything's nice and calm or static. Moving into gear 2, some traffic, car number 2 in front turning off. Car coming across me, not sure there is a legal right turn there, certainly not for a U-turn. Mate, yep, no right turn was signalled, so his licence plate will be evidence to the police if they're interested to prosecute. Keeping my speed constant so I've got time to check around all the orange coloured contractors, but there might be some debris or something that overbalances and comes out into the road, or that black car parked on the pavement might start moving, so I'm checking out the driver's seat, looking for the silver car approaching fast from the left. The Lexus actually catching me up. Got a 30-mile-an-hour zone here. Watching behind, he's starting to build his speed. I'm coming up to 30 miles an hour. He's still determined to come through on the left-hand side. Fair enough. We're coming up to the lights. He might cut in front of me. Nothing behind, so if I need to brake heavily, I can do that. I'm going to come across to lane 2, checking my blind spot. Nothing on the right-hand side. Keeping my car rolling. The lights are changing, so I can keep moving ahead. And we'll have to find a different route to Hardwalk. Picking up speed in lane number 3. Can't use lane 1 because it's a bus lane. Traffic signals turning to red. I'm going to take a right. Don't want to do that. Get through the centre. No, I think I'll go on the ring road going ahead. So once again, bringing my speed down nice and early. Doing a block change from gear 3 to gear 1. Keeping my car rolling. Clutches straight down. Hoping that the lights might change. I can see green still pointing to traffic on the right, so it's unlikely mine's going to change. Keeping the car rolling, however, to avoid using the handbrake. I now see amber, which means they're going to be stopped. We're going to get a go. Coming up through bike, gas on, picking up speed nice and briskly into gear 2. I'm in the blind spot of the Lexus that overtook me on the left, so I don't want to sit there, so I'll let them go ahead so that he can see me if he checks his mirrors. I'm going to stay in lane 3 here because I want to go right at the roundabout. Checking out the info boards, leisure developments and heritage sites on the brown sign. I'm going to turn right, 3rd exit, so I've done my centre and right mirror into gear 1. Checking to the right, easing off the brake, still closing in on the half car length in front. Traffic still coming around, so I'll hold it there. Lexus has gone, which I'm happy about because he was a bit of a racy driver. Automatic gearbox I could hear there as well, so yeah, that age of Lexus probably not able to pick up the speed as fast as a more modern manual car. Not getting pressured about the fact that the white 208 in front of me isn't going off faster. I can hear an emergency vehicle. I've identified where it is. It's on the right. It's an ambulance. Still about 100 metres away, so I've got time to go on with the gas, checking out my mirrors, getting out in front of the ambulance and away so that I'm not impeding the progress, keeping my right signal on, watching where the ambulance is going to, spiralling around Camp Hill Circus, killing my right signal. Now I'm approaching the exit prior to the 101, doing my mirrors and putting my left signal on, exiting in lane 2, ignoring the gear at the moment, building my speed up on a 40-mile-an-hour road, skipping gear 3 into gear 4, still no activity around in front, either side, so into gear 5, 36 miles an hour, building the speed up to closer to 40, letting the white van an opportunity to move out into lane 1 on my left, watching the white van in front to see whether it's going to slow to take the exit. It is. Checking out pedestrian activity at the crossing. Got one waiting, so it's likely the lights are going to change, so you'll see me check my centre mirror, slowing down, doing a block change from gear 5 to gear 1, handbrake on so I don't get shoved into any pedestrians in front, flashing amber, check my door mirrors, safe to go, moving ahead, not building lots of speed because still got a red signal ahead to let the bus come out, keeping the speed low, lots of traffic queuing ahead. I'm going to want to go right at the next roundabout, so no point in changing back to lane 1 even though it's clear in my left mirror. Coming into gear 1 because we're down at 5 miles an hour, clutch coming back up, a little bit of gas on, pedestrian waiting at the side, lights might change again, reading when ahead to make sure I don't block the box junction, which looks like it's designed for buses coming from the left to the right. Stopping here so I'm not in danger of blocking the pedestrian crossing on the far side of the yellow box. Traffic moving ahead, once again checking my left and right, moving off just as the lights were starting to change, so it wouldn't be safe to suddenly jam on the anchors. The white car close behind me might have not been paying attention and might have gone into the back of me, so the safest thing to do there is to keep moving. Letting the car roll ahead in gear 2, I'm reading 3 cars in front, I can still see brake signals, no point in coming down to a lower gear yet. Now I'll come down to gear 1, white car approaching behind, so we'll put the handbrake on in case I get shunted, no activity at the sides. Coming up to bite, clutch down again, letting it roll, just using the foot brake to slow. 4:15, so traffic's building up a little bit more now, and the daylight is getting a bit gloomier. Lady behind, paying reasonable attention, only got one hand on the wheel, however at least she's looking ahead, not on a phone or holding a cigarette for example. Bringing up the speed again, reading 4 or 5 cars ahead, brake signals coming on, so once again checking behind, covering brake, showing a brake signal, slowing my car, no other brakes in the curb before the roundabout, so checking it's safe to signal on, single female young pedestrian at the left, stopping so as not to block the crossing, but we don't need to come to an utter stop. She's looking at me and stationary with her arms folded, checking out nice and early any traffic coming from the right. Lady behind is also going to the right, moderating my speed coming down into gear 1 so that I can keep my car in motion if possible, checking out what's coming up behind me, don't want to grab at any small gap, still no activity behind me, still no chance of going onto the roundabout, so bringing the car to a stop, handbrake on so I don't need to concern myself with what's behind. Exit to my left is blocking up, college is just emptying, so the traffic leaving the roundabout will be slowing. Motorbike on my left, no other two-wheeler coming through either side, gas on, moving in behind this small Vauxhall, lady behind's coming slightly to my left, building up the speed into gear 3 now. I've set the steering, getting ready to kill the signal after exit 2, killing signal now, left signal on, moving when it's safe across to lane number 2, checking in my blind spot, lady had moved across a little bit earlier there. I'm going to Harborne, so I'm going to stay in the middle lane, looking for an opportunity to move into the right hand lane because I want to go through the underpass, black van coming up on the right, but safe distance. Once again blind spot check, moving across behind this Mercedes truck, conscious of somebody repairing a puncture in lane 1 that might deflect some of the traffic in that lane across to me. Lady that followed me around the roundabout is now in lane 2, once again over slowing to use the remaining car and a half length in front as elastic space that I can adjust in order to keep my car rolling. Black van behind is actually, I think, a minibus maybe, can't see any rear windows through that car, handbrake on in case I get shunted. We are on a 40-mile-an-hour road, anybody hitting that van behind is potentially going to shove it into me and I can't see what might be approaching behind it. Checking out left and right for any bicycles, pedestrians or emergency vehicles coming through on a red traffic signal, building my speed up, moving into gear 3 at 26, van on my left is keeping pace, so we'll go up to gear 4 and use more of the speed limit up to the mid-30s and up to the high 30s and into gear 5, coming past the white Mercedes van on the left, looking to come in between the Jaguar that's pulling away from that white van, coming off gas now we're at 40, getting fingers ready for signalling left. I'm now clear of the white van. I can see the face of it just appearing in my centre mirror, but only just, so I am going to use the signal to come left, checking the blind spot for two-wheelers, cancelling the signal, following the Jaguar, conscious the van in front of the Jaguar might slow down a little bit soon, so I'm thinking about dropping down to gear 4, especially as the overpass roundabout might have a lot of traffic joining. I can see a warning triangle warning us that we are going to be merging. Once again, checking blind spot, checking over to the left, leaning forwards to get a better view. Traffic queue coming up ahead, but no left turn these days to turn off early. But there will be, I believe, three other turnings on the left before we get close. So bringing the speed up, little van positioning to overtake in lane 1. So I'll come out of lane 2 back to lane 1. They're slowing now. I'm slowing, showing a brake signal, seeing that they respond to my signal, easing off the brake, getting ready to reapply brake when we're about half a car length away, and handbrake on. Into neutral because I can see car number 3 in front isn't going anywhere, so I might as well not pollute the environment and waste fuel. And my engine has dropped into economy mode. Clutch down brings it back on once again. Gas on, slight uphill, centre mirrors coming up through the bike. Jaguar's changing from lane 2 to lane 1, looking at the driver who seems to be on his phone, who's certainly holding it in the passenger mirror in the white van, looking at the driver in the passenger side of this white van as well, and likewise with the red car and the blue car, looking behind in the door mirrors for any two-wheelers, creeping ahead, getting ready to put the clutch down, getting ready to brake, and braking. White van behind me relatively close, so definitely on with the handbrake. Hand on the wheel, other hand on the handbrake, looking for any changes in light patterns behind, giving me a clue of any movement behind, reflections on those white panel vans, telling me if there's any bicycles or especially electric bikes. They do pick up speed fairly fast, and if you've been driving a while, you're not expecting them to do that going uphill, such as we've got here. All the traffic seems stationary again, so into neutral, relaxing, including the engine. And I can see a tall vehicle starting to move off. Must be a hell of a pothole there, the way the bodywork moves around. But it's not going very far. Maybe there's some temporary traffic lights and roadworks ahead. I can hear a motorbike engine. I can see some reflections coming up between lanes 1 and 2. I can see a motorcyclist weaving through with a fluorescent jacket on, keeping my speed nice and calm. I can hear his engine accelerating, or her. I can now see him, and it is a him. And he's coming through, so I'm checking it's safe to come left. He's giving a little burst of gas just to alert me through sound of his presence. There he goes, nice brightly coloured legs and torso and bodywork of the motorcycle. Not got L plates on, so probably quite an experienced motorcyclist. And once again coming to a stop, red traffic signals ahead, so we'll go on to the neutral position, out of gear once again, saving fuel, pressing the end of the right hand stalk a couple of times. I can see how long I've been in stop mode, only 35 seconds. A shame a driver hasn't got the ability to change that into pounds and pence. That might encourage drivers to modify their behaviour for their own personal benefit as well as air quality. I'm thinking of going left. I think it probably will save me time, so checking it's safe, signal on, coming left. Still got a pair of red lines, meaning no stopping, even for loading and unloading. Moving my head around to get around the blind spots of these A-pillars. Keeping it nice and calm, using my body language to discourage people from behind from picking up too much speed. Don't know if that silver car whose bonnet I can see on the left is coming out the side road. Can't see the driver yet. Now I can see her. So checking my centre mirror, easing off, checking out there's nobody else coming out there. Still in gear 2, reaching down to confirm that by finding that the heel of my hand makes contact with the head of the gear lever. I know that gives me an even number. That tells me I'm in an even numbered gear. If it's my fingers that make contact, it will be first, third or fifth. All the F's, as with fingers, F for fingers. Lots brake signals ahead, moving down into gear 1 now, glancing at my instruments to confirm that my engine is still running with the rev counter, needle not being at 0, and possibly the digital speed readout in single digits, so I want gear number 1 single digit for the gear number 1, rather than when you've got double digits on the digital readout, then it's number 2. So a little bit of traffic confusion ahead, so we'll just give plenty of room for them to sort themselves out, keeping my car in motion. And the pedestrians, because at 4:20 we've got schools traffic, people picking up their primary school children, but maybe secondary school from private schools in this area. In more affluent areas you'll get more vehicles, taxis as well. Going ahead, keeping an eye on the white car to make sure it's not going to turn in front of me. Courtesy thank you to them. Going into gear 2, watching anybody walking out behind the black Mercedes that's behind the car wanting to turn. Got a 20-mile-an-hour speed sign repeater there, so everybody else seems to be turning off to the right, so I've got nobody following now. I'm showing 19 on my speedo. Local authority sign is saying 19. I'm now showing 21 here. It's not uncommon for there to be a disparity of a couple of miles an hour. Calibration of instrumentation in cars tends to be up to 10% under recording. Bus hasn't got any destination indicator on or any lights on, so I'm actually going to drop down to gear 2 in case anybody's walking out from behind, covering the brake, nobody's there, uncovering brake, pedestrian on the left, car waiting to come past the bus, might have suddenly decided to go even if I've seen the driver look at me, so that's why I'm going as cautious as that. Pink rental scooter on the left, white van coming past, so I'm looking out for more scooters that might be around, van exceeding the speed limit. Crossroads, checking out there's no activity either side, I'm up to 18. Bicycle icon on the road, so we are on a cycle route, looking out for push bikes as well. I can hear the engine tone rising, so up to gear 3, 20 miles an hour is enough for it to be comfy. Lone pedestrian on the right hand side, well away from me, but lots of walls and limited vision into driveways, so I'm going to keep the speed nice and low so I've got time to check out either sides. Single pedestrian female standing at the bus stop, schoolgirl crossing the road, she'll have cleared by the time I get there. Man vaping or touching his lip anyway, thought he might be on his phone, that can cause distraction to pedestrians. No activity at the crossroads, still going ahead, a little bit more gas as we had a little rise at the crossroads. 4:25, so keeping that information in the back of my mind. I might have bus lanes which are only operating at certain times of the day, so it's important to know what time I'm travelling at. Approaching the traffic signals relatively slowly, so that the induction loops underneath the tarmac have got time to sense my approach and I might not need to come to a complete stop. Cycle reserved space in front with an advanced stop line, so we need to stop at the early stop line, but we haven't quite come to a complete stop. Looking at the red Jag in front, building speed, glancing right and left, red Jag's proceeding nice and calmly, covering the brake while I check out for any pedestrian activity coming in from the right, and being followed by a black cab at the moment, covering brake, now we're up at 20, expecting my headlights to come on, now they have. That means they are in the auto setting now that we're in poorer light because of the tree canopy, as has happened with the Renault that was coming towards me there. Its headlights came on, still covering brake, we're doing 21, that's fine, still no evidence of bicycles around, but the icon in the road reminds me that we are on a cycle route. Taxi looking to overtake me, they are creeping out towards the side slightly, my auto headlights have gone off, they'll probably come back on again if it stays gloomy for a few seconds. Taxi has dropped back slightly and taken up a normal driving position again, going back on the gas gently, coming out slightly towards the middle of the road to give myself a better view of the bend to the left. There could be bicycles that are slowing down as the road starts to go up and I want to see them early. Pedestrians over on the right, well away from me, no footpath on the left, but a bus stop on the left with somebody looking like she wants to cross the road. She might be waiting at the bus stop. Nobody's pressed the traffic signal control. Girl on the left standing stationary looking bored. Girl on the left this time got her headphones in, but doesn't look like she's talking to anybody, so probably her brain's connected to what she's looking at. Coming down to gear 1, 16:27, 3 minutes to get to my destination, that's probably okay. Checking my centre and right mirror, moving over towards left of centre position, putting on a right signal because it's safe to do so, keeping my car in motion. seeing the green-clad pedestrian woman and the jogger who are looking to cross, especially the jogger who doesn't want to come to a stop, using the stripy part of the road to maximise clear space on the left, letting the two people on their phones decide if they're going to cross, and the third clearing through before the little silver car comes, and the schoolboy also on his phone. So we have 4 pedestrians to keep an eye on there, as well as the Ford KA approaching from the left. We have priority according to the sign. Taxi hasn't caught me up. Building my speed, haven't seen any circular signs, so must be still at the 20 zone, up to gear 3 because it's safe to take your hand off the wheel. Checking ahead, moderate activity at the crossroads, trying to make eye contact with the black car driver. No further activity, did make eye contact, keeping wide of these parked cars in case somebody flings the door open without looking, using this stripy hatched area to do so, because the biggest risk is somebody stepping out or an animal running out. And there's light traffic oncoming. 2 pedestrians on the right moving moderately, 1 middle-aged person standing waiting on the left. There's a hospital nearby, possibly waiting for a taxi. Yellow zigzag markings saying no parking here. Keep clear because of visibility for patients and people who may not be in the best frame of mind, who are dropping off loved ones for a precarious time at the hospital. Pedestrians on the right, nice and calm, keeping wide of the 3 parked cars on the left, still going ahead, mini roundabout, centre mirror, slowing, white car peeping out from the right, coming down to gear 1 because it's a closed view, slowing even more, not got clear space to go ahead, so securing the car, assessing what we've got on the right, there coming through in the Vauxhall Adam. I can now move out onto the junction, grey VW keeping put, and the Jeep Renegade in yellow, Renegade in yellow staying put, traffic ahead moving slowly for the next half dozen cars. Renegade has joined behind the taxi behind. Pedestrian on the left with the backpack looking to cross the road, he's looked over his shoulder twice now, keeping in gear 2, still got 14 miles an hour, moving ahead. Building speed up to the mid-teens, downhill slope means I can use gear 3, I've got enough speed for that. Still in the 20 zone, can see the repeater sign. I'm going to go ahead, 16:29, 1 minute to get to my destination. I'm probably going to be 1 minute late, nothing coming in from the right, so I can take gear 2 entering the roundabout, checking out the blue VW approaching from the left, made eye contact, checking left mirror, signal on, taxi is still following, still no speed signs, so must still be in the 20 zone. Building the speed up to gear 3 because we've got no activity in the next few seconds and no break in the curb line, therefore most unlikely I'm going to need to suddenly steer for safety's sake, so it's a question of the best time to take a hand off the steering control to be able to make a gear change. Little Vauxhall Adam is parking on the left, engine still on because I can see that brake signal on, so I will use a signal once I know it's safe. Signal on, nothing oncoming, so out we go nice and wide in case they change their mind or open their door. Taxi behind have already started to move out. Checking ahead at the roundabout, taxi's following at a reasonable distance. Mini coming in fast from the right and red Seat coming in. Now I can proceed, going for exit 2, checking centre and left, signal on, man with dog is cleared, lining up for the speed bump, lining myself up with the bottom right hand corner of the white triangle painted on the front of the speed cushion, keeping my speed low because somebody could step out between these cars, scanning the driver's door mirrors to see if they're folded in. That's a clue as to whether the driver is in the car or not, or whether the engine is on. Doesn't always apply, depends on how expensive your car is, even in this day and age. Building the speed a little higher, nothing oncoming, so having checked it safe I'll move out to straddle the middle speed cushion. Here I'm going to be turning, yes it's the left I want, so I was coming back to the left, gives a bit of a bumpier ride. Mazda behind turning off, me going around the corner in gear 2, clutch down because I want to go immediately right, so moving into gear 1, little black cars sticking out, did a bit of a risky thing coming out in front of the grey Mini, checking to the right that no pedestrian is still in the road, the man with the scarf is crossed, no other pedestrian activity, so moving into gear 2, grey car behind now following, 16:32, so I'm now 2 minutes late. Centre mirror, bringing my speed down early so the white van's got time to get out of the way. Metchley Drive, that's what I'm after. Driver getting into white car with headlights on the right hand side of the road. None of these houses have numbers, but I can just about read the number painted on the back of the gate. So it's 42. I need a number that's over 100, so I don't need to worry about slowing yet. Little grey Nissan behind is not catching me up, but following it moderately closely. I'm doing 18. It's still a 20 zone. Driver behind looks fairly bored. He's got his elbow on the door sill and the hand on the chin. So I've shown a brake signal. I'm now going to turn left because I suspect I'm very close to my destination. The road name has actually changed here. Squirrel in the road. Shouldn't change what I'm doing because of that. And I'm actually going to park up on the right hand side. A young woman on her phone just stepped out into the road behind. Limited space for parking, so I'm going to grab this opportunity. Woman's still looking at her phone, but she's stepped out the road onto the pavement. And she's getting into the little red car behind. I'm leaving her enough space to be able to drive away, not blocking the driveway. And I have stopped, and I hope that's useful to illustrate what sort of things will be going through a driver's mind in a busy environment. Cheers for now.